Seems like the U.S. economy, the labor market in particular, is bouncing back nicely right now. Find out how many more jobs are added just this last month.
And in relation to the economy, the housing market is seeing a bit of an inflation right now in Whitman County. See how much more money houses are going for in the area. Next on Murrow News 8.
From the Northwest Public Broadcasting Studios on the campus of Washington State University, this is Murrow News 8.
Good evening, I'm Jackson Scarum.
And I'm Ava Wainhouse. Welcome to Murrow News 8. According to AP News, employers across the country increased their hiring last month, adding 531,000 jobs to the economy. According to the Labor Department's report this morning, the unemployment rate fell to 4.6% in October, which is down 0.2% from September. Although the effects of the virus are still causing severe supply shortages across America, these numbers show a hopeful recovery from the pandemic.
For all of you homeowners out there in the Whitman County Gazette, it said that the average price of a home sold in Whitman County has increased to $330,000. The Realtor Housing Statistics report shows us that the average price last year was $286,700. We'll see if this trend keeps going into next year, and hopefully for those looking to sell their homes, they'll get a decent price for it.
After months of negotiations, the House is confident to vote Friday on the $1.2 billion bipartisan infrastructure and a multi-trillion social services package deal. The deals are a major aspect of President Biden's agenda and includes a $1.8 trillion budget bill for universal preschool, child care subsidies, elder care, climate investments, and housing for Americans.
According to the Spokesman Review, a Spokane-based online real estate platform launched this week. The platform is called Dorsey and has already secured $4.1 million in round of seed funding. Founded by Spokane entrepreneurs, Dorsey is an online bidding platform that creators say provides our real estate agents with real-time home prices and upfront sales terms, increasing the chances that buyers get the home that they want before someone else does. Spokane County is receiving $101 million under the American Rescue Plan and are conducting a survey to gauge the importance of where the money should be dispersed. The Rescue Plan is an economic stimulus bill passed earlier this year by Congress. By the end of 2024, the government had decided how to spend the allotment. By the end of 2026, the fund has to be spent. Spokane residents can put their input forward by going to SpokaneCounty.org.
WSU Engineering and Computer Science graduate students will have the opportunity to participate in a 3-year program to receive training in teaching and mentoring. Our reporter Jacoby Wright has more.
Thanks, Ava. I am here at the Doyal College where students will be trained at the intersection of engineering and computer science. Now, there are a few things that you all need to know about this as things continue to come out about it. The WSU research team has received a $1.2 million U.S. Department of Education grant to train graduate students. Students will be trained at the intersection of artificial intelligence, data science, and engineering to address challenges of the future electric power grids. This will be a 3-year program that will focus on the recruitment of students from underrepresented groups, including women, blacks, and Hispanic students. The program will be led by 3 women, Anamika Duby, Vanera Anadova, and Noel Schultz. So these students will have the opportunity to participate in all kinds of internships across the Pacific Northwest as well. So yes, they will have a lot of things to do, a lot of things to train on, being teachers and mentors to other students. And so, yeah, that's all I have for you all today. Back to you guys at the desk.
More than 40 countries have pledged to end its use of coal. 2 of the biggest coal consumers, China and India, were absent from the United Nations Climate Summit. These 2 countries burn about 2/3 of the world's coal. The United States gets about 1/5 of its electricity from coal and didn't end up signing the pledge either. With the U.S. using wind and solar power, the amount of coal we use is declining.
The Quillia tribal home in western Washington is threatened by Pacific rising waters due to climate change. According to CBS, this isn't the first time the tribe has lost a home, and it will always have been affected by floods and tsunamis. The Quillia tribal village is home to about 400 people. Congress has given permission to the tribe use national parkland of western edge of the peninsula for a new home should be made.
CNBC announced today that it that its COVID-19 pill, when taken with a widely used HIV drug, cut the risk of hospitalization or death from the virus by 89% in high-risk adults when exposed to COVID-19. The CEO of Pfizer said the company plans to submit its data to the FDA before Thanksgiving, which is less than 3 weeks away.
WSU researcher Michael Phelps received a $600,000 grant from the National Institute of Health to conduct research involving gene editing. Find out more with Murrow News 8 reporter Doyal.
Most people who come down with sickness from a virus like COVID-19 are presented with few treatment options, as they usually must allow their immune system to fight it off. But what if you could be relieved of that virus after getting it? WSU researcher Michael Phelps is trying to make that a reality with a technology called CRISPR.
CRISPR is this amazing new technology that we have that allows us to edit genes in animals and cells and plants and bacteria and everything. So we can now tweak the DNA of organisms using CRISPR.
The reason why CRISPR was really a leap forward is that making these changes in DNA in a very precise manner has been nearly impossible in almost every organism except for mouse.
In this case, being able to change the DNA of a virus like COVID-19 allows you to put something totally different inside of it, something like CRISPR, which already fights off viruses naturally in nature. This ability would allow Michael Phelps to create what is dubbed the Trojan virus.
This is why we call it a Trojan virus, because it looks just like the virus you're trying to kill, except for it's completely harmless to any of your cells. But in the presence of that virus that we want to kill, it activates and it replicates itself using the genes that are produced by the bad virus, and it kills that one and spreads to other cells.
Now let's use the Wild Wild West as an example. Imagine the virus in your body as the outlaw. That's what these batteries represent. And the good virus as law enforcement. Now imagine law enforcement comes in and turns an outlaw into an informant. And then that informant turns another outlaw into an informant. And then this cycle just keeps going on until eventually all outlaws become informants and work for the law. Now, the extra thing to keep in mind is that these good viruses or law enforcement could actually spread to other people, much like COVID would. With this possibility of curing humans who have a viral infection also comes a possible shift for agriculture and animals, among other forms of life.
But we can harness that technology to manipulate life and change it so that we can help cure diseases, so that we can make agriculture more sustainable. That's what we are using CRISPR today.
For drought conditions, if we can use CRISPR to make drought-tolerant plants, drought-tolerant animals, heat-tolerant animals, so I think there's a lot of promise for using CRISPR in that area too.
The Idaho healthcare systems are still struggling. Gritman Medical Center CEO Kara Best said Wednesday that patients suffering with a heart attack or injuries from a car accident may continue to find difficulties finding a hospital that can care for them. Healthcare staff have been either retiring, traveling, or picking a different career as of recently. Nick Rolovich filed a lawsuit against Washington State University, but does he actually have a valid case? More details are on this coming up.
And there can be a good amount of trash seen throughout Pullman, especially closer to Greek Row. Find out how students can help to solve this issue after the break.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
After Nick Rolovich's lawyer filed a 34-page appeal of his termination from WSU, it looks like a lawsuit is on the horizon for the university. But what kind of case can Rollo bring against the school? More on that from Murrow News 8 reporter Derek Strom now.
Since Nick Rolovich was fired from WSU, his attorney Brian Falling sent out a letter promising legal action against the university for what they said was an unjust and unlawful termination. This was followed by a 34-page appeal that was sent out on Thursday. But what do these letters mean in a legal context? And what case does Rolovich have against Washington State? According to WSU sports law professor Chris Lebens, it's going to be an uphill battle for Rollo.
It's saying WSU somehow, some way, shape, or form has singled out Nick Rolovich and his Catholicism and said no to it. That didn't happen. That clearly didn't happen, and that didn't happen to anyone who's out there looking at this.
Towards the end of our interview, Lebens brought up an interesting point. He mentioned that unvaccinated students were allowed to stay at WSU until the end of the semester, whereas Rollo was fired as soon as the vaccine mandate kicked in. I wanted to learn more about this process, so I talked to an unvaccinated student who wished to remain anonymous. The student told me that they were initially granted an exemption in August, but WSU changed the exemption process, and when they applied again a month or so later, they were denied, but they were allowed to stay on campus until the end of the semester. I also asked the student how they felt about students being allowed to stay for the semester versus firing Nick Rolovich as soon as the mandate began, and they said in their opinion the university didn't want to expel unvaccinated students from campus because of the negative financial impact it could have if they had to refund part or all of the tuition those students paid. It's hard to say if that discrepancy will be included in Nick Rolovich's eventual lawsuit against the school, but until then, I'm Derek Strom, reporting for Murrow News 8.
The jury selection in the Ahmed Arbery case has ended after 2.5 weeks of picking jurors. The team consists of 11 white jurors and only 1 black juror. Ahmed was allegedly shot and killed by Gregory McMichael and his son Travis, both of whom have pleaded not guilty, saying that they have acted in self-defense. The trial is taking place in Glynn County, Georgia, and prosecutors are already accusing the defense of removing potential jurors based on race.
Women leaving the workforce has been an issue since the pandemic happened. Naomi Pena, a mother of 4, had to choose between her children or her job. Since the pandemic, roughly 3.5 million mothers with school-age children either lost jobs, took leaves of absence, or left the labor market altogether. Many women are not able to go back to the workforce because of needing to be there for their families.
WSU's Assistant Director in Spokane is working on improving the lives of people with disabilities who depend on smart technology for completing their daily tasks. Jason Minton is able to do that through a framework he calls Enterprise Technology for Home Area Network. The framework is currently under development with the hope of it guiding the integration of home automation technologies used by people with disabilities.
WSU student organizations are working together to create a better place to live on College Hill. Murrow News 8 reporter Cindy Garner looked into the Adopt a Block program and how it is attempting to combat the trash problem on College Hill.
The College Hill neighborhood is unique in the city of Pullman. Most mornings it's quiet, a stark contrast to nights and weekdays when students who live in the area are rushing to classes or going out with friends.
You're talking about a neighborhood that has an extremely high population density, especially like in the Greek Row area. That population density would rival like a major city, really. there are blocks that have hundreds and hundreds of people living on them.
With this high population density comes a number of challenges, including the amount of trash and litter on the streets and sidewalks.
Compared to like a suburban neighborhood, we just have a more active population and a lot more ways to make trash. We have a population that is doing a lot of drinking, no judgment there, but people who drink don't always make the best choices for what they're going to do with their empties.
To solve this problem, the College Hill Association, ASWSU, and student organizations created a program called Adopt a Block.
College Hill is divided into 14, now 15 blocks. And so each week, each block is assigned to a particular sorority and fraternity. And each week on Sundays at noon, we go out and we clean up the streets of Pullman just to make sure that we're respecting the environment and the incredible neighborhood that we get to live in.
Around 10 people from each fraternity and sorority chapter go out and clean up all of the trash on their assigned block.
It's really, really thorough. As we know, things can sometimes get a little wild on the weekends. And so by the end of the hour, it only takes about an hour, pretty much everything is cleaned up. It's really impressive.
Reporting in Pullman, I'm Sydney Gardner, Murrow, News 8.
The town of Palouse will play host to the Holiday Open House tomorrow. The one-day event brought on by the Palouse Chamber of Commerce is meant to kick off the holiday shopping season in the Palouse region. Among the featured shoppers and events is the Fall Craft Fair at the Palouse Community Center, which will go from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Drive-through lines have become an issue in Pullman. Our reporter Henry Lenhart has more.
Getting in your car and driving to get food is something we all do. But recently, blocking the street to wait in line has become an issue in Pullman.
I've been very close to almost hitting somebody because of them pulling out.
People don't understand that it's not okay to have 6 cars lined up in the road while they're waiting for their coffee, and it just causes a major jam trying to get through town.
Most notorious drive-thrus are Starbucks and Cougar Country.
It's really difficult driving down here, especially when this right lane gets filled up. There's always people trying to get out of line just because the line's so long. And when you're driving in the left lane, they almost hit you every single time because they're unaware of oncoming traffic.
I posed this question online to see how the community feels. And Adam and Theo are not alone.
Comment after comment came in.
Pullman PD put out a statement on Twitter, and they were also flooded with comments.
According to this revised code of Washington, saying that all drivers must follow all traffic control devices. For example, signs like this that say no stopping on pavement or stopping on sides of the road. Choose to ignore the sign. That cup of coffee could cost you an extra $139.
That is so much money. That is not, especially just waiting in line for a fine like that, that sucks.
Until either the drive-thrus change or cops sit at these locations 24/7, people are going to have to do their part to make these roads safer. Reporting in Pullman, I'm Henry Lenhart.
The city of Pullman released a tweet talking about some lane closures that we don't want to miss. Tweet says drivers should prepare for lane closures on Stadium Way in Northeast Mermin from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Friday and Saturday.
And the chances of Spokane getting a Major League Soccer farm club went up after a late pitch from Brett Sports and Entertainment. The team would play at the new downtown stadium that was approved by the school board in May. The stadium is set to be complete in about a year, and if approved, a USL team should follow.
It's been getting colder lately, and it looks like that might continue this weekend.
Seems like the weather is due for some freezing changes in the next couple of days. Maybe even some snow will arrive this weekend.
Days, months.
Hey, I'm Jim from across the street.
Years.
I'd like to give you this.
A lifetime. Can rush by without realizing what we're missing. But it doesn't have to be that way. We have a choice to take action. Visit maketheconnection.net to find out more.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop.
So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
I've heard we might dip below freezing this weekend. Henry, is that true? Am I going to have to spend the weekend inside, or can I go outside at some point?
Well, Ava, I would maybe want to stay the night inside. This weekend is going to be full of wet and cold, especially at night. Now, looking at today's forecast, we're going to see that 34 degrees tonight, and that's probably going to be the highest low this entire weekend. You know, we are going to see rain tonight between 4 and 10 p.m. So if you do plan on going out tonight, maybe want to grab an extra layer as well. Now, tomorrow is where it gets a little interesting. Tomorrow, we are going to see a low of 29. First time in a while that night it dips below 4 freezing. The other interesting fact about that is there's about a 30% chance of snow. So be prepared for that because it's been a while since it snowed, and I know a lot of people still maybe aren't ready to experience winter. Now, if we do go look at the rest of the map, everywhere in Washington right now is seeing a little rain. So I'll step out of the way so you can see pretty much every city is experiencing some. And there's actually this Delta system that's coming down from Seattle and is going to follow with me all the way over to Pullman and through the pass. Now, I know if you do plan on going to Seattle this weekend, the pass is expecting a couple inches every single day this weekend. So plan accordingly if you are making that trip. Now, what's interesting too, if we go over to this 5-day forecast real quick, I want you guys to look at this. Yeah, I was not kidding. Snow is expected every single night from Saturday until Wednesday. So please, maybe go find your boots, be careful driving, and get ready for some really cold weather this weekend. Now, and I think the coldest day, like you see, 28 and 29 tomorrow and Sunday. Make sure if you are walking on ice or driving around, take caution, be safe, and stay warm. Guys, back to you.
The Seattle Kraken saw something that has never happened in franchise history before last night, even though their history is 11 games long.
And a pair of matchups against Arizona and Arizona State for Cougar volleyball. Find out more with our sports anchor, Sydney Garner, when we come back.
Days, months,
Hey, I'm Jim from across the street.
years,
I'd like to give you this.
a lifetime can rush by without realizing what we're missing. But it doesn't have to be that way. We have a choice to take action. Visit maketheconnection.net to find out more.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop.
So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
Hi guys, I'm Sydney Gardner with your sports. Starting out today, Seattle Kraken came out victorious last night in a 5-2 win against the Buffalo Sabres, and Jordan Eberle scored the first ever hat trick in Seattle Kraken history. Eberle's first goal came at the end of the second period to tie the game 2-2. He scored his second goal at the beginning of the third during a 4-on-4 and gave Seattle a 3-2 lead. He completed the hat trick when he skated in close on the Buffalo net and snuck it past the goalie. This hat trick was Eberle's fourth in the NHL, and he became the 9th NHL player to score a natural hat trick for an expansion team in its inaugural season. Up next, WSU Baseball announced its 2022 schedule along with information regarding the addition of a Cougar Baseball RV tailgate program. The Cougars will open up the 2022 season with a 4-game series at Hawaii February 18th through 21st and travel for a bit until they return home to the Palouse to open up Pac-12 conference play, hosting Oregon State March 11th through 13th. RV parking and tailgating will be available for home games behind the right field fence next to the Outdoor Tennis Center and will highlight the game day experience at Bailey Branton Fields. WSU Volleyball is back in Bowler for their second matchup against the Arizona Wildcats tonight at 6 p.m. The Cougs dominated play against the Wildcats a few weeks prior on their home court, picking up their 8th all-time win in Tucson. The offense found success in the desert where they hit .326, their best mark in Pac-12 play and their third best mark on the year. Let's hope the Cougs can keep that up here in Pullman. And WSU women's soccer heads to the west side today for their Boeing Apple Cup series. The Cougs enter the week ranked number 18, jumping into the top 25 for their first time since the opening week of the 2021 spring campaign. They hope to remain unbeaten on the road in the 2021, entering the week 8-1 away from Pullman with a 20-4 goal scoring advantage. The game kicks off tonight at 6 p.m. at the Husky Soccer Stadium, and if you can't be there in person, you can watch it on the Pac-12 network.
Thank you, Sydney. As holidays are fast approaching, people have started decorating, and so is Rockefeller Square with its gigantic Christmas tree.
Find out how tall it is and where it came from after the break.
Dad, they took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy.
What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana.
What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.